Alex Eala cheered on by Gauff, Mboko after T Games run. Alexandra Alex Eala was cheered on by fellow tennis stars Coco Gauff and Victoria Mboko following her successful Southeast Asian Games campaign in Thailand. In a social media post on Friday, Eala shared photos from her SEA Games stint, accompanied by the caption, "Para sa Pilipinas at para sa Pilipino." https://www.gmnetwork.com/news/sports/others/9703517/alex-ela-cheer-on-by-gauff-by-gauff-story. More stories. https://www.gmnetwork.com/news follow us. https://www.facebook.com/gmnews. In the comments, world number 3 Coco Gauff wrote, "Congratulations," while world number 18 Victoria Mboko added, "Oh yeah." https://www.gmnetwork.com/news/sports/others/9703517/alex-ela-cheer-on-by-gauff-by-gauff-ela-cheer-on-by-by-gauff-ela-cheer-on-by https://www.gmnetwork.com/news follow us. https://www.facebook.com/gmnews. Eala brought home 3 medals from the biennial meet, a gold in women's singles, along with bronze medals in mixed doubles, with Francis Casey Alcantara, and the team event. This capped off a historic year for Eala, during which she entered the WTA Top 100 and won her first WTA 125 title in Guadalajara last September. JKC GMA Integrated News. Tags: Alex Eala, Coco Gauff, Victoria Mboko, 2025 SEA Games, 2025 Southeast Asian Games. The stadium lights at the SEA Games were not the kind that blinded, they warmed. They fell softly on the blue court, on the lines chalked with quiet precision, and on Alex Eala as she stood at the baseline, racket resting against her thigh, breathing in a moment that felt larger than the scoreline on the screen. This was Southeast Asia, her region, her people's roar braided into every bounce of the ball. Yet the cheers that reached her ears that night traveled farther than geography. They crossed oceans and time zones, carried through messages, posts, and whispered encouragements from fellow athletes who understood the language of pressure and promise. Among them were Coco Gauff and Victoria Mboko, names etched into the global tennis conversation, voices that did not shout over Alex's moment but stood beside it, amplifying it. For Alex, the SEA Games were never just another tournament. They were a return and a declaration at once. The court felt familiar, like a childhood memory resurfacing, yet the stakes felt heavier than ever. Every swing of her forehand seemed to hold a question: how far can belief carry me? The weight of expectation. Alex Eala had grown up learning that talent opens doors, but discipline keeps them open. She knew the routines of elite tennis. The early mornings, the repetitions that blur into muscle memory, the quiet loneliness of individual sport. At the SEA Games, though, the solitude of tennis was replaced by collective heartbeat. Each rally was met with gasps and cheers that rose and fell like waves. Expectation can be a burden, especially when you carry not just your own dreams, but the hopes of a nation still carving its place in the sport. Yet Alex did not flinch. She played with a calm intensity, her footwork sharp, her timing precise. She did not rush points, nor did she retreat into caution. Instead, she trusted the work she had done when no one was watching. Still, even the strongest competitors feel doubt. Between points, Alex glanced at the far end of the court, letting her breath steady. She thought not of medals or headlines, but of process, 1 point, 1 decision, 1 swing at a time. Cheers from afar. Somewhere beyond the stadium, Coco Gauff watched highlights on a screen, recognizing that look in Alex's eyes. Coco knew it well, the look of a player balancing youth and responsibility, joy and scrutiny. She sent her encouragement not as a celebrity endorsement, but as a fellow traveler on the same demanding road. Victoria Mboko, too, understood the significance of moments like these. Emerging talents recognize one another instinctively, even when they wear different flags. Mboko's support was quiet but sincere, rooted in shared understanding rather than competition. Their cheers did not interrupt Alex's focus, they fortified it. It mattered that established and rising stars alike saw her, not as a curiosity, not as a footnote, but as a peer. In a sport often defined by rankings and resumes, recognition like that is a powerful currency. The match is a mirror. As the match unfolded, it became clear that this was more than a contest of skill. It was a mirror reflecting Alex's growth. When rallies stretched long, she did not panic. When errors crept in, she corrected without self-reproach. She played with intention, not fear. The crowd noticed. Their cheers shifted from hopeful to confident. They were not urging her on as if she might fall. They were celebrating as if they believed she would rise. And rise she did, not always with a winning point, but with resilience. Every challenge on court was met with composure. Every setback was answered with resolve. The SEA Games run was shaping itself into a story not solely about results, but about presence, a shared future. In the age of social media, support travels fast. Messages stacked up, posts were shared, and Alex's name threaded through conversations far beyond the stadium walls. Coco Gauff's encouragement was reposted, Victoria Mboko's words echoed, and young players watching from their homes felt something click into place. Representation matters, not as a slogan, but as a lived reality. Alex's performance showed that excellence does not belong to one region or tradition alone. It grows wherever dedication is given space to breathe. For Coco and Mboko, cheering Alex was also an act of solidarity. Women's tennis thrives when its players lift one another, when success is not hoarded but shared. Their support suggested a future where rivalry coexists with respect, where competition sharpens rather than diminishes connection. Beyond the final point. When Alex's SEA Games run reached its conclusion, the scoreboard told one version of the story. But the fuller narrative lived elsewhere, in the confidence she carried off the court, in the way she acknowledged the crowd, in the quiet satisfaction of knowing she had honored her preparation. She understood that tennis careers are marathons, not sprints. One tournament does not define a player, but it can reveal her. The SEA Games revealed Eala as composed under pressure, open to growth, and anchored by a community that extended far beyond national borders. Later, as the lights dimmed and the court emptied, Alex checked her phone. Messages from teammates, family, and fans filled the screen. Among them were the familiar names, Gauff, Mboko, simple words of praise and encouragement. She smiled, not because she needed validation, but because she recognized companionship in the journey. The echo that remains. Long after the final cheer faded, its echo remained. It lingered in the memory of young athletes who saw possibility reflected in Alex's run. It stayed with fans who felt pride not just in performance, but in character. And it followed Alex herself, a reminder that she was not alone as she stepped into the next chapter. Under the same sky that watched her compete at the SEA Games, Eala continued forward, grounded, ambitious, and supported by voices near and far. Cheered on by peers like Coco Gauff and Victoria Mboko, she carried with her the quiet certainty that she belonged on every court she stepped onto. Not because others said so, but because she had proven it to herself.